everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
The current affliction of modern media with intersectionality cannot be disputed, at least not by anyone with the barest hint of honesty. But a question that I often get asked IRL is why? What is the motive? Allow me to indulge my inner history nerd for a moment. When the Catholic Church began to expand into non-Catholic nations, they would often co-opt the local religions. You can see this with the Celts in the case of St. Brigid. Although that is one of the more ambiguous cases, the reasoning behind this was that it would be easier to compromise and Christianize these characters as saints than to stamp out their worship with fire and sword. And hey, in a couple generations, as the memory of the past faded, people began to believe that it had always been that way. Sounds awfully familiar, don't it? The woke cult has been attempting to do the same thing with our modern mythology. They have faced quite a bit more pushback with their attempts to co-opt modern mythology, as our ability to record and preserve stories is not limited to books and oral traditions, and includes this little thing called the internet. But the attempt is made all the same, with various reboots, rewrites, and adulterations of previous material in the hopes of removing all of the offensive and nowadays unacceptable ideas and imagery to make it acceptable to the woke clergy and their ever-constricting guidelines. One such particularly clown shoes on head example of this is the abridged version of 1984 that removed certain offensive elements. Oh, sweet, sweet irony. This example is not isolated. The works of Mark Twain are often attacked because of the many uses of offensive language and naughty words. I would suggest that you read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. The unabridged versions, of course, as they are delightfully politically incorrect and American classics. But this censorship is not merely reserved for centuries-old authors. Anime is currently raising a fervor among the particularly prudish on both sides of the Western culture war, and God help you if you are a Western creative who dares bend against the orthodoxy. Now, naturally, I would suggest that you do your own research on this topic, but if you need an example of an author in relatively recent times getting fired for daring to anger the cancel pigs, Blanley Pardoe of Battletech fame. Once again, there are others, but he was the first that came to mind. Well, this video is starting to stretch out, so I think I will wrap it up here. But in closing, the reasons behind all of this is to remake modern mythology and pop culture in a new form more suitable to their idea of how the world should be. I hope you all have had a very good Christmas and New Year's. This has been Pete, the Radical Nerd, signing off.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year, and what we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay.